Hello everybody, this is your Professor Ian. This is a short video where I'm going to show you the fact-checking bootcamp. So, your course might look different than this. I'm recording one video for everybody who's been assigned this, all of my students. So, if you come down and find the fact-checking bootcamp, it'll look basically the same. The fact-checking bootcamp assignment has the instructions for the notebook you're going to keep and how to submit that. And then there are a series of 5 lessons that you work through. So, whoops. Skipping around. Let's start with the bootcamp itself. Your instructions will look like this. Just a brief intro. We're using this program by Mike Caulfield. This is his latest iteration. He's been putting out information about fact-checking and free resources online for this. He put out a text years ago called Student Fact Checkers, which was very useful, and now he's updated that and turned out a new version called the SIFT program. SIFT stands for Stop, Investigate the Source, Find Better Coverage, and Trace Claims Quotes Immediate to the Original Context. So this is what it provides is a series of very easily usable tools, very effective and quickly used tools to help us verify information and sources online. So he'll get into detail on that in the lessons, and I'll show you that in a second. But let me first look at the assignment instructions. So what I'm asking you to do, you're going to start like a Word doc, whatever you use as a word processing, computer writing app, right? Pages, whatever. You have to submit it as either a PDF or a Word doc, but whatever you're using, open up a document. You're going to record 12 prompts, or 12, you're going to write 12 entries in this, what I'm calling your notebook, okay? So 12 entries, each one is about 4 sentences, 3 to 4 sentences long, right? So in total, you're going to write 12 times 4 sentences, so about 48 sentences. And they're not long, complicated sentences, and it's mostly describing your process. So this might sound like a lot. Oh, 12 paragraphs. I mean, even though they're short paragraphs, it might sound like a lot, but it's really very instrumental writing. So you'll write 12 of these prompts, and then you'll turn it in that notebook. You don't need an introduction, you don't need a conclusion, anything like that. It's just the 12 prompts. I don't care if it's MLA formatted, any of that stuff. Doesn't really matter for this assignment. This is just about working through these lessons. So that's the basic instructions for what you're turning in. The work itself, you'll work through these lessons. There are 5 lessons. So one thing about these lessons is I can't embed them in Canvas, so you need to open them up and go to this separate outside resource. So you might want to use the right-click button and open a new tab. That's what I prefer to do. It makes it easier to navigate back and forth. Otherwise, you have to click back and find things, and just a usability idea. So, as Caulfield notes, there are 5 lessons. This is broken up into 5 lessons. You can do it all in one sitting. Each of these lessons takes about 20 to 45 minutes, depending on how quickly you work through them. So it's meant to be about 2 to 3 hours total time to work through all of these lessons. So it isn't something you want to do at 11:50 the night that it's due, right? You want to pick away at it or do it earlier. It's not onerous work, but it does take time because you need to work through each of these pages. Now, lesson 1 is setting up the basic ideas, going through some of the background, some of the the conceptual foundations for this whole idea, right? And so you work through these, okay, and just take a look, right? None of these pages are super long. This one has a link to a game you can try. It's a fun game. A couple articles you can check out, right? You don't have to spend very long checking those out, but they are fun to check out. Again, it's easier if you open a new tab and work your way through, just because the way it configures with Canvas isn't always the best. But so then a brief bit of text there, a video to watch, another brief bit of text, some examples, right? not super long. And to be honest, in the first section, the first lesson, it tends to be a little bit more text heavy just because it's going through some ideas. So you work through all that, and then when you get to lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, and lesson 5, that's where the prompts are, and that's what you're going to respond to in your notebook. So, if I open lesson 2, pardon me, I'm getting a cold. Lesson 2, this is where we get into some of the specific tools that Mike Caulfield is developing. So there's a video to watch, another video of Mike Caulfield, and these are short, right? If I press, it's just a couple minutes. Each of these videos are very short. And then there are another series of pages to work through. Some of these are prompts, right? So anything that says prompt beside it is what you need to respond to in your notebook, okay? So let's check out the first one. You look at if you look here, just the Just Add Wikipedia. So this is one of the main tools he's talking about in this lesson, is a very quick way to proofread, or not proofread, but to fact check whether something is a real source online or whether it's junk, is to see if it's on Wikipedia. Now, we've been discussing Wikipedia, and I know a lot of you have been told in the past, never use Wikipedia. And for some purposes, Wikipedia, yeah, you shouldn't use it. But for something like this, for fact checking, it's great. It's a great, fast little tool for you to use. It's not always perfect, but it's like 99% perfect for this kind of purpose. So, for this first prompt, right, you're provided with this ad about an Alexa-enabled toilet, which costs $8,000, and it's on a site called tomsguide.com, right? And so imagine you see this pop up, and you're like, oh, that sounds fake to me. Like, who's going to pay $8,000 for a toilet that you can ask to play music while you're doing your thing, right? $8,000 for a toilet seems outrageous, and so you think, oh, this sounds fake. So how do you check that out? Well, you could go and check out the ad and check out the website and do some investigation and dig into that website and see whether Tom's Guide seems like a reliable website, right? And that's going to take time. Or you can go like this, and this is the lesson of the first one. You put Tom's Guide Wiki, right? And here you go. You're on Tom's Hardware. Oh, Tom's Hardware, that's not the same, is it? But if you come down here, oh, look at that, Tom's Guide. And if you read this entry, you can learn that there's a site called Tom's Guide that became Tom's Hardware, right? So this is a real website. We can see that just by reading like 30 seconds on Wikipedia, and we know that this ad is coming from a legitimate product review site. Okay? And so that's, what we're doing, what Caulfield is doing in this first lesson, the Just Add Wiki, these really quick fact-checking techniques that people use. Like, real fact-checkers in the real world actually use these techniques. Real fact-checkers in the real world don't use, like, the crap method that you maybe have been taught in high school and other places, because it's too time-intensive, right? It takes time to look at the relevancy and the authority and all that stuff of a website, when you can very quickly, a lot of the time, just use some of these shortcuts and very quickly determine what kind of site this is coming from. So, for your notebook, you will then write something like, in the first prompt, I was asked to investigate whether Tom's Guide is a known product review site. Period. To do so, I took the words Tom's Guide and I added wiki, and entered that into my search bar. Period. What came up was a Wikipedia entry for Tom's Guide, which I read and discovered that Tom's Guide is, in fact, a known product review site. There, you're done, right? So 3 sentences in my version right there. So, again, the notebook is not asking for a lot. It's asking for you to describe your process. This is going to help you, work through these prompts, because otherwise, if you're reading through something like this, you'll just skim through and maybe not take it in the same way. But by working on these prompts through your notebook, you're going to work through the actual tools that Caulfield is providing for you. Okay? So that's about it. If you have any questions or concerns, you can email me. And otherwise, have fun with the assignment and have a great day.